I guess one thing that I haven't made abundantly clear throughout all my times of debating against the idea of banning porn is that, on the one hand, yes, I am against banning porn, as you can probably see from implications. But at the same time, I realize that there is bad stuff to people taking an indulgence in porn. There seems to be this overly simplistic mindset within our modern day in society of where that people will think that, oh, if you don't want something banned, that must mean that you morally condone it. Or if you criticize something within a person's lifestyle, that must mean that you want it banned. When really, it's a whole lot more nuanced than that, people. It's not that simple. You can want something not banned, but also be critical of it at the same time. And that's my belief on porn. And one particular negative effect that my mom has mentioned one time ever so crassly when we got talking about this subject was that watching too much porn will make it hard for you to get an erection. Literally her words. Like, I don't know if she was referring specifically to literal erectile dysfunction or if she was referring to general pickiness. Like, it'll be hard for you to get aroused at the more, let's say, quite bluntly, mediocre looking of whatever gender that you're attracted to. In my specific case, of course, it being women. In my a bit of a testament to that, honestly, I do find myself growing like picky when it comes to women. Now, I don't know if specifically if it is because of any type of porn that I'd be watching, or if it's just like how I've been like all along. Because I do know that ever since that I was 19 years old, which is really when I really started to like bloom in my puberty, quite honestly, like throughout my teenage years, I was not particularly like wooing over girls that much. It wouldn't be until I started working at the restaurant that I did in those years, that being around 18 and 19, that I would like finally come into my own as far as my sexual preferences go. And that's when I found out and started to develop, yeah, I primarily like black women. And not only that, there was one point of my time working over at that restaurant. There was a waitress who got hired on who she had like quite the hourglass figure. Like, it was the first time ever that I got exposed to a an hourglass figure that was almost as about as radical, if not even more so even, than Nicki Minaj back in her heyday, of course, at least. And I think that it is quite honestly that bit of experience, that exposure to that woman that has pretty much cemented my personal sexual preference to be what it is. In my literal self experience, I find it like I am not particularly aroused at those more thin girls, those more average looking girls. I mean, especially average looking white girls. Like, if you got a white girl that has like a body pretty similar to your average black woman, like, yeah, I guess I can like get more wooed by that, more aroused by that. But when it comes to my pickiness, yeah, I find myself more times getting aroused at the more, almost more and more exclusively, the more radical hourglass figures. And I do find it that it is becoming like harder to get aroused at even the more moderate hourglass figures as more time goes on and the more that I like delve into looking at porn and so forth. Instead of a double D cup, I'll end up requiring to look at a triple G cup or something ridiculous like that. Just a completely arbitrary example. I'm not saying this is literalness, and it's not like a literal, like, straight line from point A to point B as far as how that my progression goes. I mean, it could be like some other feature of a girl that just has a like a double C, like they have a super pretty face and that's able to like get me aroused or something like that. But still, point remains. Yeah, I find myself getting more picky in regards of this. And one little caveat about my pickiness as well, actually, is that I'm not just like more and more wooed by radical hourglass figures. Like, they have to have a pretty face too at the same time. Like, all the men give the jokes about the, oh, put a brown paper bag over her, or, oh, that's why you turn off the lights so that you cannot see her face, or whatever. But I can't get into that mindset. Like, if a woman has, like, a woman could have like a 10 out of 10 body, but if she has like a 4 out of 10, like, ugly potato face, immediate turnoff for me. The girl at least has to have like a very pretty face, as well as a curvy enough body. And honestly, probably the thing that I am most afraid of as far as my pickiness goes, ever since that I worked over at that one restaurant and around 18, 19 years old, saw the one very curvy black girl. The biggest thing that I am afraid of in regards of this is that if I marry some plain Jane who just is very average looking, and then I just run across some much curvier woman of a very similar personality than my rhetorical wife here. And I go like interacting with her a lot because of work or some other circumstance or like that, and I just feel like lust in my heart for that other woman, as opposed to just remaining loyal within my heart to the woman that I'm actually married. It's something that I am like truly afraid of in regards of my pickiness. Like, I don't want to just settle as far as who I ultimately date and then marry. And ultimately, this is probably why that I am still single even now to this very day, because I'm afraid that my own growing pickiness, or even my pickiness going back to when that I was 19 years old, biting me in the butt to where that I end up adulterous over just physical features. And that is the dead honest truth right there. Although, to be fair, we are just talking about when it comes to like just looking at women, be it in the form of media or from a distance. When it comes to directly interacting with them when they're like 2 feet in front of you and like talking to you, it seems to be a bit of a different experience, at least for me, anyways. Because there was one time of where that I was talking to this one pretty average-looking white chick. She was like even slightly on the husky side almost. I mean, she wasn't too bad looking, but by my standards, she on an average day was not the type of girl that I would want to be considered like marrying or anything like that. But she had like a bubbly enough and friendly enough of a personality, but still. And it just, as we were like talking, like she was just a big old like personable chatterbox, and lovely conversation and all that. But there was at one point of where that she did get close enough to where that it was almost like as if she breathed on me her pheromones or something, to where that at least, I mean, I wasn't like, I did not get fully hard, but I still felt something in my stomach to where that it did feel like that I was like edging on getting aroused, even though I knew in my conscious mind that this ain't the type of girl that woos me. Not quite, anyways. And although I will say that eventually, when she did find out that she doesn't want to have kids, and she even got kind of turned off when I said that. As some when I almost implied as something that eventually I want kids. I wasn't saying that specifically that I want to have kids with her. Just in general, I would eventually like to have kids, because I look at my sister and I get kind of jealous of the fact because she has kids, and I enjoy socializing and playing with her couple of daughters. And so yeah, that's part of the thing that kind of feeds into what I've heard called as baby fever. Like, I'm not trying to like put it in any gay way or anything like that, but still. And there was also this one time of other time of where that this one girl, she was of more of my personal preferences, but she wasn't of the totally radical like 11 out of 10 body that you see on Instagram that kind of gives you a fake facade almost of what is actually the average. Like, that is like the top 1 or 5% of women. This girl was not quite up there, but she still kind of was more fit of my personal preference. Like she was Latina at least, and she did have at least a moderately curvy hourglass figure. And her clothes kind of complemented it too at the same time. And just being like 2 feet in front of her and actively talking to her, it did like get me aroused. Yeah. But I do not know if it's like a direct correlation to the porn, but we can only suspect that maybe the porn like definitely did not help with that, if not did exacerbate that pickiness a bit. Another thing that annoys me even more so than the growing pickiness would have to be the lack of productivity. And the fact that just in general it's a distraction. It becomes, like an addicting drug, as and that's standard talking point that a lot of people use, I know, but it's true. It's true, and it becomes hard to like keep yourself on track and busy with something else within your day instead of wanting to keep on doing whatever hobby it is that I need to do, like my comic writing or my video editing or even doing some chore or errand that I should be doing. I'll just end up spending like, you know, first it'll go from like 1 minute of, oh, there's a girl like with a very good body working out at the gym, that just a reel of that just popped across my Facebook feed. And then before you know it, I'll like go out of my way to look at something again, and then another something, and then another something, and before you know it, I've wasted about 30 minutes, maybe even an hour, maybe even more, and it just comes so ridiculous to a point of where that I end up feeling that you know what, to heck with it, I should just like get this out of my system so that I can get on with my day, and so I blow one off. And then not only do I have the distraction and the waste of time that is wasted of me looking at stuff for so long, but I also end up having some of the motivation and drive taken out of me to go ahead and actually be productive in my hobbies and so forth. And I don't like it. I really don't like it. Probably fair to mention the whole guilt aspect of it, because that seems to be like a typical thing associated with in regards of people jerking one off, is that when somebody like gets done like fully masturbating, they feel guilty right afterwards. And in my own personal experience, it's not literally every single time after I get done do I feel guilty. Probably maybe about half the time, and that is like probably more associated with me thinking, "Dang it, I had plans today on being productive of comic writing or whatever else have you," and ultimately I feel like I have just wasted my time on this frivolous shit instead of just doing something that's more on the wholesome side of things, my hobbies and so forth. But on the other times that do I feel instinctually guilty every single time? Honestly, I don't, not every single time. Like I realize that it's a sin ultimately. Like my conscious realizes it, but I don't feel it as much in my subconscious. And probably part of it is because of the fact that I've been white knuckling for so long, and it's getting to a boiling point of where that, you know what, I just gotta let it out. And really, if pornographic or lustful thoughts are in my head in general, I'm like sinning anyway. So what's this one sin that being like just going ahead and getting it don't over with it, jerking it off, instead of continuously doing this other sin continuously, that being just thinking the thoughts. I mean, what difference does it really make at that point? I mean, I'm still sinning either ways. I guess it's part of my thought process on that. Do I feel hypocritical though? Which I think is a fair question to ask. I guess I kind of do. And I guess that kind of ties into the whole guilt aspect of it as well. So I guess I'm feeling a little bit guilty in that front. But I don't know. It's like a sort of a mix of emotions of whenever that I look, and especially whenever I go masturbating one off. I feel hypocritical more in the aspect of that I believe it to be a sin for you to be having like lust in your heart, yes, and more so to be like actively feeding into that lust by looking and especially like jerking one off. And yet here I am in the hypothetical moment looking at something as porn-ish and maybe even fapping it to it. But at the same time, I don't feel as much so hypocritical in the aspect that I'm not going around crusading to people, how dare you look at porn, or even how dare you have like promiscuous sex or anything like that. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think are bad, but I don't necessarily go out of my way to criticize people for those things. Quite the abrupt ending, unfortunately, but hey, I can't be climactic every time. But wait for parts 3 and 4, where the subject matter will get a little bit more juicy. Part 3, I'll go into of what I have done to try and fix my own problem, and then part 4, I'll go on criticizing all the types of people that I really don't think are a help in people trying to fight off their porn addictions.